Hi guys, my name is Hazel Chiyungi and I am a chef by profession. I'm here to talk about mental health in Zambia. I will mention that I'm not a therapist or psychologist of any sort, so this is basically just my opinion and my advice to our youth in Zambia and what I think the mental challenges are for our nation. So I feel youth today get distracted because they lack purpose or they don't know how to identify their purpose. And purpose is a cardinal thing for any human being to know. I think from early on, from as young as 5 years old, and it's important for parents to cultivate that. But I feel in Zambia, I'll give an example about when I came to Zambia the first time. That was when I came back, sorry, not the first time. When I came back in 2013, I would often find a lot of people were studying courses that they were not passionate about. It was just, because their parents expected them to do this course like accounting or be in law, but they were not passionate about these things. Most of them you would find they're creative people, but they're now being subjected to be academic students. So this in turn made them depressed because they don't feel like they're living out their purpose. And I feel purpose is the number one thing that a lot of Zambian youth find difficulty into breaking away from this rigid system that we have, that you have to do what your parents want you to do instead of what you believe in yourself to do. I believe that that contributes majorly to people's mental health. With mental illness, it varies, okay? So it can be from trauma, from what I've read. It can be from traumatic experiences from childhood, such as molestation or rape or, verbal, emotional, mental abuse. But because some children are confined to this nuclear setup where they know no other norm, they just grow up in an environment that might be toxic, and they think that that is just the way of life. So when they grow up into being adults, they think what they have learned as children, as adolescents, and as youth is the nature of life. People should just get with the program. So when we start talking about things like narcissism in our society, a lot of people are not conversant with that type of personality disorder. They don't know what it is. They just think it's a normal thing. I once wrote an article where I observed that in Africa, we have a narcissistic type of upbringing because it was always kind of like a dictatorship between the parent and the child. And so the communication between parents and children was always do as I say. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you feel. So you're just going to do what I want you to do. And in turn, people internalize this anger and this frustration that they've grown up with. And when they become adults, it starts spewing out in other abusive forms. That can be, they can abuse the person that they're in love with, or they abuse their workmates or their colleagues or their employees, so to speak. And I think that whatever you're planting in a child is whom they're going to be as an adult. So if you're not if you don't show a child various ways to communicate about their feelings, about their emotions, you're definitely only going to create the monster that we now call narcissism. Parenting does not come with a manual. You don't know what kid you're gonna have. I'm a mother of two, and I'm mothering two individuals at the same time. So they're having the same experiences at the same time, but they're still different people. So I believe parents really need to know within themselves different ways to communicate to different personalities. You cannot use what you're using for child A to work the same way for child B. Obviously, there's always a general rule that you would apply to all your children, but there are certain things, because of those children being unique, that you have to apply different systems or different ways to help your child through life. So I think it starts with the parents themselves, because they're the ones doing the nurturing of this child who's later going to be an adult in society. So parents, need to educate themselves about mental illnesses. They need to educate themselves on personality types, because for example, if an African parent has an autistic child, they'll just think, oh, they have this child who just doesn't know how to communicate. Yes, that child does not communicate the normal way that you communicate. So if you don't know that there's a possibility that your child could be autistic, you're going to do things the African way. You're just going to be like, okay, there's something wrong with this child, or there's a demonic force that is making my child behave this way. And that might not be it. It's just a personality disorder that they may be going through. If you don't know how to deal with that, or if you don't know how to approach that, it's going to be difficult for you to parent that child the way that child needs to be nurtured. So I think, it starts with parents educating themselves on mental illness, on personality types, and modes of communication for those personality types. I think that's the greatest impact we can have. I'm not saying that parents should, just copy some Western model, because I think as Africans, we still have to stick to our identity, still respect our values and our norms. So it's not just, taking something, oh, it's worked for Western people, so it's going to work for Africans. I don't think that that's a realistic way to look at things, because societies are different. And so you always have to look at the society you're living in and how you can best adopt certain principles that have worked for others in those situations.